Okay, this is not a statement of fashion, it's a statement of age. So I want to say good afternoon to all of you, and I want to thank the organizers and you for giving me the opportunity to share some of my thoughts on women empowerment. Over the past few days, I've given the issue much thought as I try to prepare for the event. And as usual, in the case where one is asked to stand before others and impart some wisdom, I was tempted to do research, which I always do, and sometimes too much. And then I was also tempted to consult the dictionary and come up with the exact definition and tell you some sage words and quotes from well-known authors. And I did start there, I'll be honest. But then I concluded that the better way to approach the topic, there's no better way to approach it than through my own experience and observations, because I think that those will stick more. After all, I am a woman, and I am empowered. So having come to that decision, I began to formulate my thoughts. And as our very beautiful MC actually said, maybe above all the other things that, excuse me, that my CV reads, I'm also a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an aunt, I'm a godmother, I'm a sister, not biologically, I'm an only child, but I'm a sister. You know? I'm a friend, and for the first time actually I realized I'm a wife. I was a wife, and for the first time I think in 6 years I'm able to own the word, because I've not been able to own it previously. And I realized that this morning that it's important for me to tell you as well that I'm a widow. And it's the first time I've been able to say that word publicly. We tend to say, those of us who've lost our husbands, we tend to say, I lost my husband passed away, etc. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to time to tick that box, I'm a widow. And I have to own that. And that comes with a huge amount of experience for life. So I started formulating my thoughts, and in most things in life, the issue of empowerment is not black and white. If you think that you're going to go look at a definition and you're going to tick it off, yes, this is empowerment and I'm empowered, that's not the case. So I have to declare up front that I've got good news and I've got bad news. But after all of this is said and done, I'm sure that you'll be able to charter your own way forward, as we all have to. The good news is that we live in a time in the world, not all over, but generally speaking, we live in a time and in a country where the role of women in the workplace, in government, in society is accepted, it's respected, and it's celebrated. We're seeing more and more women in positions of influence, in positions of authority, and in positions of power. But we also live in a world and in a country where the violence against women is still unacceptably high and doesn't receive the attention it deserves. And where growing numbers of young women, particularly in our country, in our context, and I'm glad to see so many younger women here today. But we also live in a society, as much as the empowerment of women is there, there is a growing number and a very worrying trend of young women that believe that their path to an easy life and a better life is through a blessing. And also where women in positions where they can represent the rights and the struggles of women don't do justice to that responsibility. And a case in point was last night's demonstration and the way that was handled by the women in power. Instead of saying, hey, you know, we didn't particularly appreciate the way it was done, but there's a point and it's Women's Month, etc., etc., the first thing we do is that we jump to the defense of the men. And that was very disappointing. And so many times with our current leadership, we see that. There's so many women of authority, of position, in positions of power in this country who have the right and who have the voice and who have the ability to speak truth to power and who don't. And in fact, they take us back by their public pronouncements, etc. And young girls who fall into this blesser syndrome take us back, because for women like myself, who take a lot of pride in the fact that I worked my way to my success. For a lot of us who've struggled in the boardroom, who fought the glass ceiling and those kinds of things, it's an insult when a young woman just decides that actually I think I'm going to take the easy way out. Now, not saying that there aren't circumstances that make people vulnerable to such things, but at the end of the day, I firmly believe that you always are where you decide to be. Because if you don't like where you are, you can change it. It's your decision. And where we find ourselves in life, perhaps it's 30% of it is due to circumstance, but 70% is due to the decisions you make in your life. And you may not realize it at the moment, but years later you'll know that I made a decision that ultimately got me here. I could have chosen a different path. I could have made a different decision. And so, the point that I want to make today, and the point that is critical or is foundational to what I want to say to you, is that empowerment comes from self. You can empower yourself. You have to empower yourself. If you're sitting back and thinking, oh, I'm waiting for the government to empower me, that's not going to happen. If you're thinking, I'm waiting for my employer to empower me, that is not going to happen. It's not a sad truth, actually. It's not sad. But the fact of the matter and the truth is that you have to empower yourself. Because all that empowerment is, when we talk in the context of formal structures, or we talk about formal empowerment, empowerment is only about creating a conducive environment. If you talk about business, if you talk about government policy, etc., it's about creating a conducive environment. It's not, ultimately, you can take somebody to the trough, but it's up to them whether they eat or not. You can put food in a trough, you can take a horse to the water, whether or not that horse drinks is up to them. And that is what empowerment is all about. It's about creating an environment that is enabling, that creates opportunity, that creates access for participation, but it is not going to do you any good to have all of those structures if you yourself don't take advantage of those opportunities, if you yourself don't empower yourself. So, another piece of good news is that there are many programs and structures in place that seek to empower women by ensuring access, participation, and support in the workplace.